fisherman tumbling on the seas, far away from dry land and its bitter memories, casting out my sweet.
Do you know what? A fish that really punches above its weight is the bonefish. Pound for pound, the best fighting fish on the planet. I've caught salmon, I've caught wahoo, I've caught marlin, but a 6-pound bonefish off the shores of Cuba, stripped 150 yards of my line to the backing and then snapped. Amazing fight. Bonefish, you can't beat them. Is there a fish I want to catch? Yes, it's the black marlin. I've yet to catch a black marlin, and they can grow up way over 1,000 pounds. I think the record's something like nearing 2,000 pounds. So I don't know about catching one, but I'd like to see something like that. Place to visit. It's funny because extreme fishing are now, I'm in that privileged position where they ring up and say, where do you want to go? And the Seychelles is on my list. Also the Bahamas, I've heard it's great. And Indonesia looks pretty amazing as well.
You in my arms.
The biggest fish I have ever caught was off the coast of Ilulissat in Greenland. It was a 1,400-pound Greenland shark, which we caught, and usually on extreme fishing we tag and release them, but we didn't. We harvested this fish, every single piece of it. They fed the dogs with it, which they need for survival, but they also offered the heart to me. I gave it a miss, you know, but yeah, 1,400 pounds. My idea of a perfect fishing day is going to a place you've always wanted to go. Funny enough, the Coquet in Northumberland. Been with someone you really like being with, and when it comes to fishing, there's only one person. That's my Uncle Matheson, who taught me to fish, and it's catching a salmon. Those three components, angling alchemy, you can't do it. The guy who taught me to fish was my father's brother, my Uncle Matheson. My dad spent most of his life down in mine, so didn't have the time to kind of invest for that kind of activity with me. So I went fishing here with my Uncle Matheson, and we caught a 3-pound trout on a hare's ear. He also showed me a fly that was made from the hair of a ram's testicles, known as the tuck fly. We all know it. Who thought of that? Come on. He saw a ram and went, do you know what? That'll be perfect for trout. There's so many great rivers in the United Kingdom. I mean, just for kind of labour of love, it's the Coquet, but you cannot beat the Tweed. You know, on its day, probably the best salmon river in Europe, bar none, period. What I always try and advocate about fishing is the experience. And I remember every aspect of catching my first fish. And it was here, and it was with my Uncle Matheson. It was a sunny day. On the way here, we saw an owl. As we were setting up, saw an otter catching a salmon. And I remember just being with my Uncle Matheson, and the one thing that was deeply apparent was how content he was, how happy it was, and how happy and at ease he was with himself. And he knew why he was fishing, and he loved it, and he so wanted me to catch a fish. When I take my son fishing, I so want him to catch a fish. And it's just the anticipation of the bite. There's something deeply rooted and primitive about that. And I do think you call upon your forefathers when you're fishing. Like, it's something that's inherent within us. By design, we are meant to eat fish. By design, we are meant to fish. And when you cast a line and you catch something that you set out and you were in pursuit of, and you catch it and then you eat it, it's just an amazing kind of conclusion to the experience, you know? So yeah, I loved every aspect of it. The only tip I give to any angler is don't worry about getting it wrong. We're all fallible. If you catch a tree on your back cast when you're fly fishing, don't worry about it. If you don't catch a fish during that day, don't worry about it. You will. And, you know, go with someone who knows about the area. Local knowledge is everything. So if there's any tip, enjoy your day, don't worry about getting it wrong, and go with someone who actually knows the river. Do you know what? What's great about being part of Dunlop is I've always wanted to drive a Formula One car. Damn, they wouldn't let me. I always wanted to be Andy Murray. Damn, they wouldn't let me. I wanted to play golf. I can't. Damn, they wouldn't let me. And then they found something I could do, which was fishing, which is great. And when you think of Dunlop, you do think something that is class, something that is associated with excellence, and something that is reliable and of quality. And hey, the next step is me. I mean, what more could you ask for, you know? No, fishing's all about feel, and I've been using some of their gear today, and it's really kind of balanced, has a really good action to it, and it's up there with the best. And you know, because of what I do, part of my profession, I've used some pretty good gear, and you know, Dunlop's up there with it. It really is. Reliable, great action, balance, got a good feel about it. And fishing is all about feel, and Dunlop gear feels great.